Hold on to your butts.
Don't move, you're surrounded by armed bastards.
What are we going to do?
Well, I say let's get out there and twat it.
Welcome back to the Cabin Night Podcast. I'm Rob.
I'm Jake.
I'm James.
Today's episode is another wrestling one. I seem to get the wrestling ones.
I wonder why.
I wonder why that...
I mean, he's the oracle, but...
But I thought he was more wrestling than... Anyway, it doesn't matter.
No, but you ask me, you host it and you ask me...
Well, yeah, is this right?
Facts to pull out of my arse.
He sits in the corner confirming
Yes.
or
Yeah.
poo-pooing.
I want
where
to
we
do
get
this
it wrong.
topic. Is it right, James?
To use a hockey term, James is Toronto right now.
Yeah, okay.
Hey.
Go away.
Can I go with this door? Sure. Just be back with my team.
I'll let you lend me truck and my leg. Yeah, let's cut all that.
No.
What are you saying, man?
I don't know.
What are we doing?
I don't know. This episode, wrestling. That's what we're talking about.
Okay.
We are gonna discuss, pick apart tag teams, favourites, matches. Who knows? Tag teams in general. Before we get there, we invite you to grab a drink, make yourself comfortable, and enjoy the discussion. First question: what makes a tag team? What?
James,
Don't say two people, dickhead.
Shit.
What makes a tag team?
For me, it's the chemistry. It's they need to be able to bounce off each other in the sense that they know. I can't remember. To be fair, it was an interview with a tag team. I can't remember who said it, but it's being able to know what your partner's going to do before they do it.
Yeah.
So you can, so example, set up for that double team move.
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's going for the clothesline. Let me get ready to, come in to do something else.
Yeah.
It's that kind of intuition of knowing what your almost knowing your partner's moveset better than they know their own moveset.
Yeah.
It's that kind of intuition of knowing what's going to happen next and what's going to go next, and that's what makes a great tag team. The ones that can bounce off each other, because the tag teams that you can tell are thrown together are the ones that they're just two single stars doing their own thing, tagging out, and then the next one does their own thing. A tag team, they're a tag team. They work together to make one fluid unit rather than two people who are working together.
I think a good example of where that, they ended up being, in the end, a decent tag team. But Cesaro and Sheamus were a good example in that they were two separate stars that they got.
I think for Cesaro and Sheamus, they were good friends. I think they worked together on the indies and stuff like that, and they'd had a lot of matches in WWE together as well, so they got to learn each other. And to be fair, Sheamus? Yeah, Sheamus.
That's much better than the bar.
Sheamus is a much better wrestler than people give him credit for.
Yes,
he is a much better wrestler.
Yeah.
Sheamus and Cesaro also has one of the best chances ever. They never capitalised on it. It was the Raw after Mania one night. It was just do Sheamus and Cesaro, do Sheamus and Cesaro, and it was amazing. Why didn't they go? But I think you're right. They were thrown together, but
They made it work.
They made it work because they're both such good wrestlers and they knew each other.
With that though, I think Rated RKO, I think they were chucked together.
Didn't work as well though.
It didn't work as
They had
well.
a great theme.
Yeah.
The mash of those themes was amazing. But
I didn't. It
Who's
didn't work
the
as
other one? Obviously, Randy Orton
and Edge.
So it was Metalingus and the Voices one.
Yeah, it was Burning My Light by Mercy Drive. So they lowered Burning My Light and they raised Metalingus to try and make him a similar pitch.
Yeah.
And it didn't really work. It sounded really good.
I did like it. Yeah.
I think as two single stars, Edge and Randy Orton are really good. But as a tag, the idea of the tag team worked better than the actual tag team in practice. I
thought. Have you got anything to?
Yeah, and it's same for me. Not just with tag teams, but with any wrestling really. I've always been more about the gimmick and the. I know you're very much catered towards the technical side. You're a big fan of technical wrestlers. The wrestlers.
I'll get onto that when we get into more tag teams.
Dean Malenko with his holds and whatnot.
Man of a thousand.
I don't mind. Okay, Dean Malenko's one of my favourites.
I know. Yeah. Okay, so maybe. Daniel Bryan then as a technical wrestler.
I know what you're trying to say. Yeah, I like fluid wrestling like that.
Whereas for me, the entertainment in wrestling was always the drama. I enjoyed the matches, and when they had the big sort of set pieces in matches, I enjoyed that. But if it's just a standard sort of bout, and it turns to a move, then he doesn't move, and then he kicks out, whatever. That was always took the back seat to the gimmick. And it's the same with tag teams for me. I've always been if a tag team have got, and that covers everything. That covers like the look, the performance, and the mic work.
Yeah.
I've got a feeling I know Matt B and Jake's top tag teams.
Okay.
Have you? Because I'm not sure yet.
Just based on what you said, I've got a couple that are floating around my head anyway.
Yeah,
there's a few in there.
I know what you're saying about technical, and when we get onto it, there are a few teams that are much more technical than others.
I always, and it's something that certainly when I was last watching wrestling, it's something that the WWE seems to push for some reason. It's the working on the injured joint.
Yeah.
And that's
a very
so
WWE. You can have
boring.
You can have technical wrestling that isn't that. You can
Yeah.
have technical wrestling that is reversal. Yes, holds, because wrestling is holds, but it's not just kind of like, oh, you've hurt your leg. I'm going to do a leg bar for the next 20
and then
minutes.
I'm going to tag out, and he's going to work on it
Yeah,
for
and
another 20 minutes.
You can work over.
Dash and Dawson in one of the early, in the sort of when they first came up from NXT into, they were very much predatory.
But Dash and Dawson's gimmick is that they're the old school gimmick. But if you compare their stuff in WWE to what they're doing in AEW, it's night and day. No, they were good in both, but what they're doing in AEW is brilliant because they are a really good tag team.
Yeah.
But yeah, I get what you're saying. I do get what you're saying.
I don't want to ask too many questions because I think it's not an interview. So but the chemistry. So does that mean mainly that the tag teams that you prefer, James, are the teams that are introduced as tag teams and have possibly always been a tag team?
Entered as.
Yeah. Like Legion of Doom, for example, they have never been, until Hawk died, they were never singles wrestlers.
Yeah.
They were the Legion of Doom or the Road Warriors from day one. They were a tag team and they continued that way. Does that mean that's the sort of tag team you prefer?
I would argue that they may have the edge. I would not necessarily say that's the case because a more modern tag team, American Alpha, they were the whole gimmick was they were thrown together.
Yeah.
Chad
Gable and Jason Jordan.
Yeah, the whole gimmick was that they were thrown together because Chad Gable was like, "Oh, team up with me, Jason. Team up with me, Jason." Because Jason couldn't quite catch a break, so he was like, "Well, team up with me will be great." So it worked for them because their styles went so well together. But yeah, tag teams that have been together, like if they're just good friends, Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, or the brothers, the Hardys, people like
And
that.
the Undertaker and Kane. Right?
Yeah, brothers. Yeah. So I'd argue that Undertaker and Kane is a sacrilege, but I'd argue they were a crap tag team.
I think they were.
Yeah, I mean they were a notable one.
They were notable and they had a lot of success.
I think
you got two wrestlers who wrestled the same style.
They were two single stars. They weren't tag team wrestlers. That's the point.
Like, but again, like finishing maneuvers, they use chokeslam a lot. They both use chokeslam a lot.
Yeah.
A double chokeslam isn't something that immediately goes, "Ooh, that's good."
Because the whole point with Kane and Undertaker, they were meant to be mirror images of each other. So
Yes.
their movesets are very similar. So basically, you're seeing one guy tag out to have the exact same guy come in.
Yeah, I
It
do
was a
kind
bit
of feel sorry
dull.
for Kane or Glenn Jacobs in that respect. You are his brother. You are going to do everything he does.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, no disrespect to either, because obviously both of them are fantastic.
We've covered Taker
We've covered
already,
Taker
so.
before, and I'm sure Kane will become a topic as well, because I think Kane is possibly one of the greatest big men. In fact, no, possibly. He is one of the greatest big men of all time.
Yeah.
Maybe possibly better than Taker.
I would agree.
I
I
another time, I think. But yeah.
We're talking about different aspects.
I
of
think
thing.
I think
There's-
pure wrestling certainly is.
Yeah,
is
absolutely.
definitely a better
as
wrestler.
a gimmick, I think maybe Taker can't be beat as a gimmick. But
yes, I think you've got to. Yeah, they've been brought up together, or at least they've trained a lot together. So Sheamus and Cesaro,
Yeah.
because they'd worked together a lot, they'd got that chemistry. I'm not saying that. Okay, Undertaker and Kane, also they worked together a fucking lot,
Yeah.
but there was just never as a
We didn't
tag
always
team. They
make
never
the-
seemed to quite gel, which is why they were better. Allies, yes, but a tag team, no.
Yeah. More if they were we spoke about this earlier on tonight before the podcast, but if they were to start like the Ministry, like a faction, more individuals
Yeah.
working together as opposed to a tag team.
Wait, talking about the Ministry.
Yeah.
the Acolytes APA, they were two separate stars.
Yeah.
You know, Farouk had been in many guises.
Yeah.
Ron Simmons.
He was the first African American.
Yes, he was first African American world champion to beat Vader. Yes, in
WCW.
19 something. I can't remember.
Probably before you were born.
I'm a wee baron. I'm a wee baron.
Youths.
Youth spelled with 3 F's.
Yeah.
It's Utes.
The Ute.
now.
Was it Utes?
Y-U-T-E-S.
Oh.
Yeah, Youths.
That their Ute club.
Yeah. Oh dear.
So they were two separate. They've both been in tag teams. Like Bradshaw was part of the, I want to say the New Blackjacks.
New Blackjacks.
Yeah. And Farouk.
Blackjack, Mulligan, and
Nation of Domination.
Yeah. Yeah, he was in the Nation, but he was in a few. I think he was in a couple of tag teams. But like Farouk came in.
Damn.
But he had that. Do you remember he had that weird like gladiator
Yeah.
helmet? It was awful. Farouk's original gimmick. It was awful. It was good in the sense that it was Ron Simmons, and Ron Simmons is a good wrestler.
yeah.
But the actual gimmick was awful. But yeah, so they were kind of not thrown together, but put together. But they knew each other quite well because they'd worked together a lot. So it ended up because they were both. I'm just going to go against something I've already said about Undertaker Kane, but because they were both brawlers.
Yeah.
It kind of worked for their tag team because it was kind of like, right, we're both going to beat the shit out of you. I'm going to kick you to death, and then my friends are going to come in and kick you to death as well. So it kind of worked for them, and they had the chemistry. And they weren't, because they're obviously tail end of the Attitude Era. Other tag teams around at the time, they weren't quite as good as them. I want to say that's a bit of a disservice.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying there. Yeah.
They were still good, but the other tag teams that were around at that time, which is probably why they never really had a good run with the titles.
Yeah.
Because of who else was around.
It was a good few. I mean, it's not necessarily related to the tag team, although it was my first introduction for me to Bradshaw was as Bradshaw, and it was a good few years after the JBL, cowboy hat years, that I realised that Bradshaw and JBL were one and the same.
Really?
It was a while before I figured that was that guy with the long black hair and the black goatee in APA.
I still remember the bit in the Acolytes when Bradshaw cut his hair and Farouk made some sort of joke about him cutting his hair or something. I think the tail end of Attitude Era, though, you'd got tag teams that had grown up, in some cases, quite literally together.
I do feel that the Attitude Era was more tag team friendly.
It was definitely a tag team era.
Vince now hates tag team.
There were a lot of great singles wrestlers, and yes, your main title in your promotion is always going to be the world heavyweight or the heavyweight or whatever, the world championship. But
You do feel like the tag team division was more important back then.
yeah, well, you'd got Edge and Christian, you'd got Hardy Boys, you'd got Dudley Boys, just
as the top three of that time.
Just to go with the top three of that.
But you also had, you had New Age Outlaws.
Yep.
You had other people
Rock
that
and
had
Mankind.
Rock and Mankind.
Rock and Sock.
I didn't think they were that good a tag team.
I'm not saying they were good, but they were part of the mix.
Yeah, they were part of the mix.
But they
Too Cool.
too cool. Yeah.
Or who were originally Too Sexy, but then
Yeah.
Too Cool, Too Sexy, were they? Too Much.
Grandmaster Sexy, Scotty Too Hotty, and later Rikishi.
And later Rikishi.
But again, I
With
think
his
most
large
of
dimpled
them had come through together. Matt and Jeff Hardy were actual brothers. Sorry to ruin any illusion.
They still are.
And still are.
To this day, they
They
remain
remain
remain.
brothers to
It's
this
something
day.
they decided back in the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
and to this day they
To this
remain
day,
brothers.
they are. Edge and Christian, best mates.
Grown brothers, depending what story they're telling that week. Yeah.
Grown up together, been to wrestling together, got into the business at the same time, sort of stuff. So tag team that is what I said originally. That they've come in as a tag team.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think the Attitude Era did have the better tag teams.
One of my favourite, and they weren't one lasted particularly long, Canon XPac. I really loved that
No,
tag
but
team.
I said that works because their styles were so
Different.
different.
Well, that Kane and RVD then,
Yeah, similar vein. Yeah, similar vein because
but
there was
again
a kind of
thrown together.
yeah because you had the powerhouse and the muscle, and then you had the cruiserweight who would flip around. It works, which is why a good tag team I don't think ever really happened would have been Big Show and Rey Mysterio
Yeah,
because of that kind.
I know Jericho is bigger than Mysterio, but you had Big Show and
Well,
Jericho.
Jericho is
You had the
was
Jericho.
technically a cruiserweight.
Yeah, the Jericho, didn't you?
Yeah.
Before we get on to best favourite, whatever tag team, what they want to say it is, what was the first tag team that came to mind, caught your brain? No, we'll do them as two different questions. The first tag team that you saw as a tag team.
Ooh, first time.
Now, bear in mind, mine's going to be quite a fucking old one because I'm old, and I thought I'd get there before you two did. Again.
The first one I remember seeing, I suppose, would be the first pay-per-view I watched. Would have been New Age Outlaws then.
Okay.
Because that would have been Survivor Series '98 was the first pay-per-view, or premium live event as they like to call them now, rather than pay-per-views. Yeah.
Because Vince.
Because Vince. Yeah, I think that would have been my first. I think New Age Outlaws would have been the first one I saw. Not necessarily my favourite.
No.
Again, for character-wise, they're probably up there, but again, no disrespect. No disrespect because they are good wrestlers, of course they are. But I don't know. They're more characters than they were good wrestlers. I thought.
See, I remember Road Dogg when he was with Jeff Jarrett.
He was the
He
roadie.
was the roadie. And I also remember Billy Gunn when he was part of the Smoking Guns with Billy and Bart Gunn.
Billy Bart Gunn, yeah.
I'm struggling. I seem to remember and forget.
That's the oracle when you start getting into wrestling. What tag teams were around? You'll tell you them all.
Looking around 94.
Oh Christ!
94.
You're looking at like Bushwhackers.
No, I would say Bushwhackers.
End at Bushwhackers. Men on a Mission.
Power and Glory, were they still around then?
No.
No,
The New Foundation. Owen and
I'm not talking
Nigel,
about the later tag team with the Indeed.
Oh, Kai.
Yeah, but before that,
Oh,
an Asian. I don't know if they were Korean or Japanese or whatever, but
they were an Express.
No, in fact, no. I've got it. The earliest ones were Earthquake and Tugboat.
Typhoon.
Typhoon as
Natural Disasters.
Natural Disasters, that's it, yeah.
So Money Inc. then as well. $1 Million Man
Okay.
and Erwin R. Shyster.
Yeah. The Vince idea for what a Jewish lawyer would look like. Yeah. He was good like
Accountant.
that. The Shyster. Shysters.
Accountant.
Bad name for Jewish lawyers.
This proves how out of touch Vince is. Originally, he envisioned the $1 Million Man to be a babyface.
Yes.
He thought a millionaire was someone. He thought he'd be a popular.
Because he was a millionaire. And
Yeah.
thought, I'm nice. Why not? Why did not be?
But yeah,
I'm
Earthquake.
Nigel. I'm nice.
So that was that. I was going to bring that up earlier when they were talking about Taker and Kane, because Earthquake and Typhoon. All right, one did a splash and one didn't, but it was the same move pretty much.
Tag teams were different then.
They were
Not as disrespect, but tag teams were.
They were different.
They were a different
Was,
thing. Wrestling entirely was different.
Was Tugboat ever part of a tag team?
Yeah, he was Typhoon.
He was Typhoon.
Oh,
He turned
it's the
into
same
Typhoon.
guy.
Yeah.
This is
He
why
was
I'm
also the
confused.
Shockmaster.
I didn't know
We'll
him
not talk
as
about him.
Typhoon. I knew him as Tugmaster, which is why.
Tugmaster.
Tugmaster. That's
You've
entirely different.
been watching your videos again, haven't you? Tugmaster.
Oh, he's gone. We've broken. The Tugmaster.
I'm gone dizzy.
Oh dear me. It brings a whole new meaning.
Yeah.
This is just going to be an hour long big laughing. Tugmaster.
Brilliant.
I like it.
Taskboat doesn't have the same master.
So today's sponsor is from lovehoney.com. It's known as the Tugmaster.
They're weird, those things.
What things?
They're sort of male masturbation aids. No, where you basically put your,
Flashlights.
yeah, we basically put your either in a torch or a Hoover, basically. But it's not so much the idea of it. It's really,
Hang on, wait a minute. It's like you've never done that already.
not for a while, you know. But no, but it's not okay. This is not wrestling at all. But it's more the idea of afterwards. You know, as a man, you know, a man finishes. You kind of go, I've got to clean this now.
What do you do with your magic?
Yeah. What happens with
So anyway, Tugboat. Tugboat.
what happens with your spook?
So yeah, Tugboat. He used to wear a red and white stripy shirt.
He did.
And I had a baby girl.
Oh,
That
you
was-
told it
And the
before,
little,
you
And I
told
used to
before.
jump on my
What?
dad, you know, to do the whole splash thing. And
The whole Tugmaster thing.
The whole tour.
I was a child, Rob. I was a child. Don't make it weirder than I already have. Yeah. So Tugboat, yeah. And the other guy, Earthquake. Yeah.
Yeah. John Tenter?
John Tenter was
John
Earthquake,
Tenter, yeah.
and I did know Tugboat. I think.
Was Hacksaw Jim Duggan ever part of a tag team?
Yes.
I'm sure he was. I can't think off the top of my head though.
Yeah.
I know he was in TNA. Oh no, in WCW rather. He joined Team Canada.
He was, but I don't think he ever really went anywhere. I think he was better on his own.
Was he? I feel like he was a tag team with Coco Beware. I've never just made that up.
No, Owen Hart and Coco Beware were a tag team.
Oh, what I'm thinking of. No one has ever got
High Voltage. No. High something.
I don't know. Again, that sort of new generation here, it gets a bit hazy for me.
Yeah. So for me, I think because I'm that old.
Tugmaster.
The Tugmasters. The Rockers were around when I first started watching. The Rockers, Power and Glory were still around, which was Paul
Roma
and Rick the Model Martel.
But he wasn't the model then, but yeah.
Yeah, Rick Martel. One that we may get to in an episode shortly, as may have been requested or not already on the podcast. Power and Glory, Barbarian and Warlord.
We'll have to take your word for that.
Yeah. You said Power and Glory twice.
What were they called?
That was. Oh, I think we're getting.
Towers of Pain. Pain.
Oh,
I can't remember now.
I can't remember.
Power and Glory, yeah. Power and Glory were Roma and thing, and then the Warlord and Barbarian.
Towers of Terror. No, Towers of Terror. No, Towers of Terror.
Towers of Pain. Pain. Whatever. We'll get to that in another episode anyway. The Heart Foundation.
Powers of Pain.
Powers of Pain. That's it.
The original Heart Foundation.
Yes.
Jim Neville, Neidhart, and Bret Hart.
Yeah.
With-
They're probably.
The Bulldogs were still around when I got
yeah,
into
yeah,
it,
really.
so I got into a good
I
time.
never really saw Dynamite Kid. I never really saw it when I was first watching it. I've gone back and seen him. But
Demolition were probably just finishing. They'd probably got crushed with them at that point. So it was when they turned into a Freebird type.
yeah.
They're the bondage guys.
Yeah.
They're bondage guys.
They're shit Road Warriors are doing really well in every other promotion they're in. Let's make our own version of them, and we'll do this, and then we'll turn into.
I had a figure for Crush, maybe.
I'm saying nothing.
No, like an
actual. Alright, okay. I thought we were back on Tugmaster. Okay, so
He once found the dress-up costume for Demolition in his mum's wardrobe.
It's not funny.
okay, last question before we get to what when the episode was broached that we were going to do tag team. What was the first tag team that popped in your head?
For me, I think it would be, simply because I've watched them recently, Red Dragon or Undisputed Era, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
Okay.
Simply because I've watched them recently.
Hardy Boys was my
Hardy Boys.
first. Was my first thought.
Mine was Legion of Doom. So that would I just wondered when you say it, what was the
I think if I hadn't watched something
recently?
I think my brain may have gone somewhere like Hardy Boys or Dudley Boys. I think.
Okay, so greatest tag team and why? What?
I think for me, I always like the distinction between favourite and best. The one I would pick as the best aren't my favourite.
Okay.
But then I don't think my favourite, I would class them as my favourite now.
No. Okay.
I just think at the time, the Hardy Boys, I always played as Matt Hardy on the wrestling games.
Yeah.
I really liked what they were doing in the tail end Attitude Era, weren't it?
Towards the end, yeah.
Yeah. I think the greatest, in my opinion, would be Edge and Christian. But simply because of their matches with the Hardy Boys. Obviously, there's the famous spear off the belt, the hanging belt.
Yeah,
so I suppose that leads into the match as well. I mean, obviously that's a classic into the ladder match there. But yeah, I suppose my favourite are the Hardy Boys, but the greatest I think are probably Edge and Christian.
Okay. I think both are good. Both are good, obviously.
So I would certainly put both of them in my top 10. I think. I don't know if they break top 5, but I certainly think I'd put them in my top 10.
Which is, I suppose, it's odd for me really, because there's not much gimmick really with both Edge and Christian. Maybe when they were starting out as part of the Brood and that sort of thing.
But
maybe.
they dropped that relatively quickly.
Yeah, they weren't in the Brood for two.
And then they became Reek of Awesomeness guys.
Yeah.
I think when if talking about a gimmick, I mean, I absolutely loved APA. I loved APA.
I'm not so sure that was
on,
actually a gimmick, though.
Their segments on Raw with the door, insisting that people through the door. Absolutely
The
fantastic.
best
Clear
moment-
either side, but a
the
door.
best
and you
moment,
have
I
to walk
can't
through the
remember.
door.
I can't remember when it was, but there was a hardcore match. It was going back, like they used to in the old days.
The crappy hardcore.
Yeah. And they were brawling backstage, and they got to the APA's office, and they all brawled through the door. None of them went round it. They all brawled, and I thought it was such a funny little moment. The fact that, like, really seriously, like Taz, and Viscera going, "Oh no, gotta go through the tiny door." I thought that was really
Viscera fit through that door.
well. You kind of didn't see it happen on camera, but it was implied he went through the door.
Yeah.
That was funny. That was funny. Best.
Hang on one sec. Why though? Why Hardy Boys? Why were they?
I don't know. Hardy Boys at the point at which they came out, where I was in my life, they got the fashion, I suppose, which was horrendous to look back at, but it was great.
Yeah,
at the
I
time.
still wore it, but
Yeah, it was great at the time. I
wearing
love
a
the
pink
theme music.
fishnet.
Yeah, the theme.
I love the theme music, but they were also exciting to watch in ring. They were the daredevils of
They
the,
were the high flyers.
yeah, they absolutely were. Same with Alpha Sage and Christian. They were. I liked the Brood as a gimmick, so I was probably already invested in them even when they moved away from that. So yeah, like I said, I'm a gimmick person, and it's unusual to do not necessarily gimmick it. But,
At the better parts of the career, certainly.
yeah,
I mean, Hardy Boys, it was portrayed as a gimmick, but it's true. Is the fact that they're brothers. They are. Made a big deal out of the fact that they were actually brothers.
It's still an exciting thing whenever Jeff does the
Swanton.
thing. Yeah, Swanton is it? Yeah. If he's going up somewhere high, that.
It's a thing of beauty, Jeff Swanson.
I mean, I remember watching. I mean, he's done. I don't have to again check the Oracle, but he's done TNA. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember him doing. I might remember this wrongly, but I remember him doing it onto someone who was laid across the door of a cage, from the top of the cage.
Probably. It sounds like I think he did. I can't remember when it is.
It
Write it
would've-
on the postcard and tell us when that match
It
was.
would have been one of the 6 sides of steel matches, surely.
I imagine so. Yeah, I know he's
I
done
remember
Swan.
him jumping off onto someone who was sort of like bent over the.
Or their
door.
version of the Hell in a Cell, which was
Total Lockdown, wasn't it called?
Total Lockdown. Yeah.
I agree. The hardest. I mean, for me, I think I'm drawn to the Dudleys. For similar reasons, but the Dudleys. I don't know. It's so hard to call. I think the best tag team of all time because what is best? The Dudleys had titles wherever they went. They're one of the most decorated teams ever. I don't even know exactly how many, but they're the only tag team I think to hold WCW, WWF, and ECW tag team champion titles.
Yeah,
As
but
well-
they didn't hold the WCW ones as WCW.
No, they held them when the invasion. But they also then on top of that they've also held the TNA and the IWGP ones as well.
Yeah.
So, they've held so many titles. And I know
I think they're only beaten by the Legion of Doom actually in how many tag team
Potentially.
titles they've won across.
But the Dudleys were great because they never changed that much, but they worked wonderfully well as either a face or a heel.
Yeah,
And they didn't like in ECW when they were heels. They almost caused riots with the with
Yeah.
the promos. They almost caused riots.
but they didn't say or do anything.
No, they did. They did.
No. I mean, drastically different to what they did. I don't think ECW got away with a lot more because it was on later TV and you could.
I don't know. Bubba going into the front row and calling people whores. I don't think they would ever cut.
WWE wouldn't allow that even at the height of the Attitude Era,
Yeah.
but like they would imply certain things that they were going to do, and it was no different to what they'd done in ECW. It was very, like I said, that if they were face or heel, they did relatively the same.
They didn't. They never really changed that. That's why they turned face organically in WWE because people just started to like what they were doing. They never really changed that much. The only thing they stopped was Bubba's stutter. It was the only thing that really changed. But there's some modern ones in there as well.
Didn't they do a chair shot to lose that stutter? I think it was something.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
They-
The whole storyline with Bubba's concussions or something like that.
Yeah, they hit him with a chair or something, and all of a sudden the stutter had gone.
But yeah, some modern tag teams as well that I think, like I said, I mentioned Red Dragon, so Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish from Undisputed Era. I know you're never a big fan, but I really like the Vaudevillains. Again, I think maybe more for the gimmick than the wrestlers.
Yeah, I'd like a gimmick. I've never sold on that one.
DIY, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano, really, really good. I like the Viking Raiders. War Machine, as they're called in the Indies, but really good kind of two hosses just going, right, we're going to beat the shit out of you. Really good.
They were like, I suppose, the modern day version of the Road Warriors, because
a little bit, yeah.
They really did. They just, we're going to do this, and really, what are you going to do?
What were they called? Victor and what's it?
Ascension.
Yeah.
Connor and Victor.
Connor and Victor. Yeah.
Tragically underused, but I thought
on the main roster in TNA they were in NXT rather they were really really good. But yeah, on the main roster they weren't used. You can say that about most things. But also you go to AEW, Lucha Bros, Penta and Ray Phoenix are amazing. FTR, as I now know, the revival in WWE.
Dawson and
Dash and Dawson.
Dash and Dawson, yeah.
Dash and Dawson. Really, really good. I mean, Young Bucks, modern tag team. I mean, I've never been a big fan of the Young Bucks.
No.
They're good.
I preferred Young Bucks as Generation Me in TNA. I thought it was better then.
I mean, if we're talking modern, I mean, whether they yoke up a tea or whatever, and obviously with Big E now being a singles.
He's still part of
the New Day.
Yeah, so, I mean, the New Day, they've got that perfect balance of in-ring talent, I think, and...
I don't think there's been a tag team for years. They are probably one of the closest to like the Freebirds, where I mean everybody hated the Freebirds because you were supposed to, because they were the Confederate flag is God and all that sort of stuff. They were, but the New Day, even if you don't like them, you love them.
They're entertaining, yeah.
Yeah, dropping 1,000 pancakes, whatever they did.
Well, they started off as faces, or meant to be, but people hated it.
Yeah.
They turned them heel. And they became so stupid, everyone started loving them again. Yeah. So that was,
I maintain that, and it's something we've discussed. Not to give away the secrets of the industry, but it's something we've discussed in terms of in the podcast. Is if there's something that people can listen to and they know they're going to get that every single time. And certainly at that time with the New Day, you were going to get Brooklyn, whatever. And I think it's something people can join in with. It the same way with Big Cass and Enzo. There was going to be something that you could join in. You were part of that. Big Cass and Enzo doing their thing was only part of it. You and the rest of the audience were
Enzo and Big Cass were great show openers. They were great for the opening match.
But it were like New Age Outlaws. As soon as you heard that boom, doo doo doo, and you went, oh, here we go, let's get ready.
Yeah, which again I think goes back to
boys and girls.
Huh?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Boys and girls, children of all ages. Yeah, that one. Yeah. Yeah, there's that as well. There's so many modern tactics we haven't talked about. Beer Money.
Beer Money is one of my modern ones that I would
Beer
pick.
Money, Robert Roode and James Storm. Really, really good. Really, really fun. Really, really fun tag team.
As much as everybody compares them to Shawn Michaels and Triple H, they were like the DX. Like they didn't care. They were going to drink beer. They were going to do. The APA were in there as well.
Yeah.
In that. Who else did I think of from TNA as well? There were another one that I
Motor City Machine Guns.
Motor City Machine Guns, Chris Sabin and Alex Shelley. Really like them too. I mentioned Generation Me. What was the one that Shannon Moore was in?
Oh, Ink.
Ink.
I didn't think they were that great.
I didn't think they were that great, but again, like on a gimmicky side, they did some good stuff. I don't remember Legion of Doom. For me, they I think, like I said, they did the same things that Dudley Boys did. They went everywhere and they beat whoever it was for their respective titles. Obviously, they didn't hold the amount they couldn't hold TNA titles because TNA was about, but only in its infancy when Hawk died. The Rockers, for me, I love Shawn Michaels on the first time I saw him, so not so big on Marty Jannetty, but I mean.
Oh, you mean the Undertaker?
Yeah, the Undertaker from the Royal Rumble. Yeah, Beer Money definitely were one. I went to see TNA in 2000 and
something
10, 11. Having not really watched TNA that much at that point. I remember Beer Money. Were they still going then?
Potentially, I don't know. TNA gets a bit hazy for me around that point.
I know Sting wasn't there when I went, but Jeff Hardy had just come back.
Okay.
So it was after 2009 when CM Punk beat him because he left after that.
Oh right, yeah. So he came. He was
I don't know how close after that it was, but Jeff Hardy was there.
He went back like the following January, I think. After that, yeah.
Just having watched all WrestleManias, pointless as it was at the time, to put possibly the two biggest names together, Mega Powers.
No, I think as a tag team they did work actually. I think
Hogan and Savage.
Two of the biggest characters in the industry ever, really.
Yeah.
Put together a tag team does kind of make sense.
I had a real argument with myself on what I preferred in a tag team. Like as a kid, whenever Legion of Doom music hit and they came out, I thought they were great. And to me, when they hit Doomsday Device, that were it.
Probably one of the worst moves to take.
Yeah,
it's
that
horrible
were it.
to take that move.
Did they do it as a tribute, or did they do it to continue? The Dudley Boys did it, didn't they, for a while? They took on when Hawk died. Yeah, when Hawk died, their Hawk's last match in WWE was against the Dudley Boys.
Was it?
Yeah.
Was it?
I think so. They had a tag team.
I thought that was against RVD and Kane because it was a tryout match for them to potentially come back.
Was it?
Yeah.
I know that there's a thing I remember where Devon does animals bit and picks up somebody on the shoulders, and Bubba does the dive.
Sure, they did that when they came back though, in just after WrestleMania 31.
They've definitely,
Dudleys.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think Dudleys probably have done it.
then.
they've definitely used it, and I remember at some point Bubba distinctly being on the ropes, and he looks up and he thank you Hawk or whatever. It was something to do. I know they've definitely used it. But I don't know if they used it for a while or not. I love the Hardy Boys, Team Extreme. That was again the fashion, the stuff that I really enjoyed them. I think my favourite, and probably because of what they did and how they did it, was Legion of Doom.
Okay.
I don't think they came in together. They lived together, trained together, ate together, slept together. Probably, I mean, I'm not saying anything about them. Do you know what I mean? But they went on tour together. They did everything together, apart from when Hawk had his little moments and went off to other things.
Yeah, so Animal had them as well. Animal had them as well. Let's not play that down.
I think modern ones, Beer Money, definitely for me, were a really cool one. I did like the new DX when Shawn Michaels and Triple H got back together in 2006, 5, 6.
6.
When they did the whole against
22, so yeah, 6.
Whole against Vince.
Yeah, Vince and the Spirit Squad.
Yeah, I liked that. That was one thing because I missed. They didn't tour over here that much during the end of the Attitude Era, so I'd missed all the DX thing. So when they came back, and I saw them, it was much later than that version, but I saw them later on, and I was really impressed that I'd seen them, and I did buy the glow sticks.
I don't know if it counts in the tag team, or if it comes under the Freebird or whatever, but I think one of the best modern feuds, certainly for me, because that's where I was when I started watching it again, would be Wyatt family versus the Shield. Yeah.
No,
that was I like both of those. I think the Wyatt family more so, but
because the Wyatt family were a tag team of Eric Rowan and Luke Harper with Bray as basically their guy, their manager. So they were a tag team.
Yeah.
Of the sort of modern era, that as a particular feud as well. If you talk about like the Hardy Boys and Edge and Christian, modern day would be Wyatt family and the Shield. I think that was fantastic. Yeah.
The problem is there's far too many. I think there's loads of really good tag teams that we just haven't even mentioned because there's far too many good ones.
I've got a final question. Covered it in parts, I think already, but best tag team finisher.
I would have to go with 3D.
Through a table or not?
I mean, obviously through a table. What a stupid question that was. You said Devon get the nothing. Devon get the table.
Devon, don't get anything. We're just going to do it right now.
No. Although when the 3D, what was she called?
Mae Young.
I mean,
he bubble bombed, didn't he?
He bubble bombed off the stage. Yeah.
And I know that it was part of his character to look completely desolate afterwards, but I feel like he genuinely thought
I've killed
after the 3D side, she might be dead.
Favourite story of Mae Young. There was for whatever
it was the hand.
No, it wasn't the hand. For some reason, I can't remember why, but she ended up having some form of mini match with Hardcore Holly. Yeah, on a random SmackDown.
This was the Attitude.
This was it. And Hardcore, Bob Holly's not known for working particularly gentle. He's known as being
No,
stiff working.
yeah,
Apparently, went up to May and went, how do you want to do this? Do you want to give you a signal? Do you want to pull it? She went, no, go for it. He was like, what? Go for it. You're joking, right? No, do it. So Mae Young, who must have been, I don't know, 104 at this point in her life. She died 20 years later, but 104.
Yeah.
So Bob comes in, and I don't know if it's a punch, I don't know if it's a clothesline, but he goes for it. You see a proper snapback, and Hardcore is not known for being particularly remorseful. Apparently he felt awful. He went back and basically apparently made a set up and go, is that all you got? So she was mental, that woman. But finisher, yeah, I think the 3D is visually one of the best tag team finishes. It also looks like it hurt. Like Poetry in Motion looked great, but didn't look like it hurt that much.
No.
3D looked like it gave you right, but then again, also Doomsday Device.
Doomsday Device was mine.
Doomsday Device was one of the best finishers.
Just because every other finishing move, I think with the majority of anybody's, whether it's a singles or not, you can see an element of protection somewhere. Somebody try, other than the Triple H spiking the guy on the head completely. Everything else, you can almost see the protection in it. Whereas Doomsday Device, you just flip him off top.
Yeah, one clothesline where one flips you over. Yeah, it's horrible.
And you just land. Oh no, there was also the Warrior gorilla press. They just dropped him.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's hard to protect yourself from a gorilla press.
Yeah.
To be fair, but yeah, I think
Doomsday Device would certainly be mine.
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I think that's one of the best tag team finishes, if not the best tag team finisher. I think.
What was?
I can't think of too many others anyway.
I think it came more from the, as we said before, the tag teams that came up together. What was the Heart Foundation was the slingshot.
Yeah,
so Nidar held him up.
It was
the slingshot clothesline.
Yeah, it was almost like he was doing a spine buster, and then Brett came off the ropes with the clothesline. Yeah, which is basically a much tamer version of the Doomsday Device.
Yeah. What did the Bulldogs do?
Oh Christ, I can't remember. I don't know if the Bulldogs did that thing where they basically used used their finishers together. Yeah. So I think it was like a gorilla press slam into a diving headbutt or something
like that. Yeah. Or the running power bomb.
Yeah.
And then into a because a lot of tag teams did that when we've both got this strong move, so we want to get it both in.
Because that was a better finisher for the Hardys. Instead of Potion Motion, when it was a twist of fate into a swanton, that was a better tag team finisher, even though it's technically two single moves rather than a
but
tag
they both
team.
used twist of fate, didn't they, as well?
They did, but it was more Matt's move, to be fair, than Jeff's. But again, I know I keep talking about him, but Undisputed Era's tag team, I think it's called Chasing the Dragon. Basically, Bobby Fish gets them up for a suplex, and then they get kicked in the back of the neck.
Yeah.
By Kyle O'Reilly, and there's a brainbuster. So I think definitely about that. 3D is probably the best tag team.
I think for me 3D will be the second one. Doomsday Device, then 3D.
They're close run. I think those two. I think they're very close run.
Is there anything else anybody wants to say about tag teams?
Was the Hurricane ever with anybody?
Kane.
Hurricane.
Yeah.
Unless you want to think of just Shane Helms, then he was in 3 count.
Yeah. It was also with Rosie.
He was superhero in training, Rosie.
Shit.
Yeah.
S-H-I-T.
Hollywood Blondes.
The Hollywood Blondes, yeah. Brian Pillman and there's so many tag teams we haven't talked about.
Yeah.
Going back to Texas Tornadoes.
The Von Erichs, you mean?
The Von Erichs.
Were they not a tag team?
Well, Texas Tornado was one of the.
The Von Erichs.
What were they called collectively?
The Von Erichs.
Von Erich family.
Oh, okay.
There was.
I thought they were the Tornadoes.
The really, really obscure one before either of them became famous. One became more famous than the other. The Dingo Warriors.
Oh, no, they were called the Blade Runners.
Blade Runners. Dingo, a Dingo Warrior, and what was Sting called?
Not
they were
Sting.
both warriors.
I can't watch Sting's other name was. Yeah.
Because the Ultimate Warrior was Dingo Warrior, and then there were other Warrior.
Yeah, they were the Blade Runners.
Yeah, they were the Blade Runners. Yeah.
The Puerto Rican ones recently.
You mean recently or like before Attitude Era?
Oh no, recently.
You don't mean Los Boricuas?
Savio Vega, yeah.
Savio Vega.
I know, but oh Christ, I've had too much drink. I forgot what they're called.
Oh, not the ones.
The Clones. The Clones. Carlito's brothers.
Yeah.
So you don't mean the ones in AEW that party in a circle, do you?
No.
Not them.
Oh, Santana and Ortiz.
Yeah.
Proud and Powerful or something like that they're called. Well,
Briscoe brothers.
Briscoe brothers who are mental.
They've now joined AEW, aren't they, as well?
I don't think officially.
Well,
as of time record, have they?
They've announced they have, but they haven't been announced.
Well, they're called the Mean Street Posse.
Oh crap!
Shane McMahon's cronies.
Yeah.
Which I think only one of them was actually a trained wrestler. The other two were just kind of there.
Gas. Oh,
Rodney, Pete Gas, and
Droz and Prince Albert.
Droz in Legion of Doom.
Droz and Legion of Doom, yeah. TNA, Test and Albert.
Mhm.
Yeah, Droz. Oh, sorry, yeah. Droz was in Legion of Doom.
Was it?
Yeah.
Because they had the whole thing where they brought Droz in because Hawk kept going off and he was having his drinking binges. So they brought him in to replace Hawk, and it was actually Droz that pushed him off top of the Titan.
Droz was his enabler or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was all a bit weird and convoluted.
I mean, we can talk about the 2005 version of the Legion of Doom.
No, we'd rather not.
that?
Animal Heidenreich.
It was awful. It was not good.
I mean, we've missed a big one for me. If you talk about TNA, Eminem, Mercury and Morrison.
They weren't in TNA.
No, at TNA. I'm saying we're talking about TNA as in Test and Albert.
Oh, I see. Yeah,
They had the same dynamic.
Mercury and Nitro and Melina. Yeah, Eminem. Yeah, they were good. They again, obviously Johnny Nitro, Johnny Mundo, Johnny
Morrison.
Impact, Johnny whatever he's called.
What was Mabel's?
Men on a mission.
Men on a mission.
What was it? What was the other person called?
Oscar. Mo. Oscar was the
Got like
manager.
the-
Oscar was the manager. It was Mo and Mabel. Yeah,
Got like the circus.
yeah, the
Yeah.
horrible,
Stripey.
the purple. Yeah.
Horrendous.
Midian and Viscera.
Viscera, yeah,
Part of the, yeah.
Ministry.
Part of the ministry.
Blue Meanie.
Who else were in Ministry? The Enrio and the Godwins.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, because
Viscera was not Viscera.
Right.
Midian was.
Vidian was one of the Godwins. I think it was Henry.
No, Henry was the bigger one of the
Oh.
two. So he would have been. I don't know. I can't remember.
The Steiners. We haven't talked about the Steiners.
Yeah. Steiner
Yeah.
Brothers.
There's so many good tag teams. We haven't even talked about female tag teams. You know, the Iconics, which are really so much fun.
I really liked. I know it was not. They weren't really a tag team as such, but Mandy Rose and
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville.
Oh, they were really good. I thought as a tag team. They worked really well together. I thought.
But they never sort of finalised. They hadn't got a name really.
no, yeah.
They were two singles, but they were together.
Well, they were friends. That's why they were.
Yeah.
That's why they worked together because they were
Yeah.
good friends. Yeah, there's so many we haven't talked about.
I mean, there's beautiful people in TNA.
Yeah. It's, I suppose you can't really talk about women tag teams and not mention either ones in TNA because they did so
We
well.
can all agree that the greatest tag team ever was and is RK Bro.
We didn't talk about RKO, did we? Oh wait, I briefly.
We did,
I really don't like Matt Riddle.
I don't like Matt Riddle.
I don't like the fact that he has to stick on a goatee to look like Randy Orton.
It's just the fact. I just hate straight away the fact that his music starts with. I just go, I don't want it. Don't like it. Don't like it.
It's because you're looking at Zack Ryder
Zack
and
Ryder.
Hawkins.
Jojo O'Reilly or whatever.
Oh, Jojo Roddick.
Jojo O'Reilly, that's it, yeah. He's just like a big kid hopped up on sugar, weren't he?
I
Yeah.
never liked.
I
Matt
read
Riddle,
something earlier that
Zack Ryder?
it was Hawkins, weren't it? Edge's.
The Edgeheads
No, before he retired, he had Hawkins and
and Ryder, yeah.
yeah.
They have the Edgeheads, yeah.
Vince apparently thought they were brothers.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. What was there a specific tag team in the Nexus?
No, not really. They were just all kind of.
Yeah, all kind of.
Maybe there was towards the end of the Nexus, but I think the two that won tag team gold in the Nexus was David Otunga and John Cena. Yeah, so I don't think the Nexus really counts for that one.
No, I'm just trying to work out some of the stables that might have. We haven't really spoke about the Freebirds.
Well, no, but I suppose it's sacrilege, but I've never really gone back and watched a lot of Freebirds, mainly because Michael Hayes pisses me off.
The only time I watch the Freebirds is when they appear in Highlander.
Although the Freebirds did have one of the coolest themes, Bad Street USA, had an amazing theme.
Which was written and sung by Michael Hayes.
Yeah, I'll grant him that. He's got the worst dress sense in the world, but
Yeah.
you know he's got a good mouth on him when he wants to.
Brainbusters.
Yes.
Tully Blanchard and
Van Anderson.
Van Anderson.
Yeah, really.
But they were WWE, weren't they? Because they were part of the Four
part of the Four Horsemen. They called the Brainbusters in WWE, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. They may have referred to as Brainbusters, but when they came to WWE, it was
Yeah, they were the Brainbusters.
What
Yeah.
were they called? 8 Ball?
Eight Balls, Disciples of the Apocalypse.
Disciples of the Apocalypse.
DOA.
No, when they had the black leather waistcoats.
Yeah, Disciples of the Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Really?
The Harris
There
twins.
there
Yeah.
were 4 of them. There were
They were in the They were.
Crush were one of them. There was 8 Ball, Skull, Chains, and Crush.
Yeah.
Bald dudes, yeah.
Yeah. Two had got long hair and two had got bald.
Yeah, two of them were the Harris twins. Two of them were the racist Harris twins. That is right, isn't it?
They were also Eli and Jacob Blue.
Yeah.
That looked like the Berserker. They dressed like the Berserker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the Harris twins who are not particularly nice people from what I can tell.
I mean, there was also it wasn't a tag team; it was a faction. But Ace and Eights in TNA. They did have tag teams in them, but
they didn't have tag teams in them. But Ace and Eights. Okay, there's different things about stables now, but I think they kind of ousted the welcome. Ace and Eights. They went on
it became obvious who the people were going to be. But anyway, if there's nothing else anybody would like to say,
favourite tag team match.
I've said mine already.
Yeah, I think pretty much if we don't pick TLC.
TLC 2, WrestleMania 17. That's sort of more of a spectacle of TLC, you know.
Yeah.
If you want just pure wrestling tag team, I'd say DIY versus The Revival at TakeOver Toronto. It was 2 out of 3 falls tag team.
Right, okay.
Really. If you want sort of more classic tag team wrestling, that one. If you want spectacle, just high drama all the way through, TLC 2.
I don't remember the individual matches, I'll be honest with you. I can't think past TLC.
They did a 4 corners tag team match on Raw once where you could tag in anybody. I think it was like Hardy Boys, Edge and Christian, Dudleys and whoever else at the time. Le Resistance maybe, I don't know, whatever it was. But your tag team didn't have to win. So if I was in a tag team with Jake, but I tagged James in, and then James and somebody else won, then they became... So you could have got got Edge and Matt Hardy as the tag team champions based on that 4 corners match.
I don't remember that match.
It would. I think in the end it was the tag team that won, but they made it out like it could have been.
Okay.
So you could have had Devon and Jeff, or Devon and Rob Conway, or whoever the other tag team was.
I don't remember that one at all. No.
That was a really good idea, but I don't ever think it would have panned out greatly, because then you'd have gone, well, he's mine.
Yeah.
You'd kind of gone back. Can we have a free bird real quick and bring somebody else in? So, last thing, you've been great. We've been Kevin. Good night.